What we're doing here is I have a great question that came in during Life Editing for Beginners, and I thought it was too good for me to just keep in the Life Editing for Beginners group. I really wanted to share it with all of you, so that's what I'm doing today. So let me back up for a second. For those of you who don't know, Life Editing for Beginners is my flagship group program. It's 5 weeks long, and I walk you through the 5 steps of the life editing process. It's a really great start for life editing if you're completely new to it. It's going to help you delete those bad influences, add good habits and routines, or rearrange your time so that you get more stuff done. I love doing this program. I've been doing it now for 3.5 years. So anyway, we are halfway through the live session that's going on right now. And I got a question that came in last week, and we had a really great discussion during our live group call. But it was so good that I wanted to share it with all of you too, instead of just keeping it in Life Editing for Beginners. So let me read this question for you, and then I'm going to give you 3 really good tips for dealing with emotional labor. Okay, so this came in from Anonymous, and she says, I'm very thankful and I'm a very open and personable person. People feel comfortable telling me their problems, and I often comfort them, and I'm a good listener. However, at times it can be very draining and toxic to my well-being because I feel that all I am is their sounding board to tell them all that is wrong in their lives. I still want to be there for my friends and family, but not feel the weight of their burdens on my shoulders all the time. How do I delete these negative influences but still be there for them too? How do I balance this? So thanks, Anonymous, for sending in this question to Life Editing for Beginners. So what she's talking about is emotional labor. And if you're not familiar with that term, that means that people are coming to you and either they're complaining or they're asking for advice or they're ranting or they're just dumping all of their emotions onto you, and you are the one there holding them up, keeping them stable. You're their foundation. You are laboring their emotion. That's what emotional labor is. I think we all kind of understand physical labor, like if somebody is working in a warehouse, hauling boxes, or if someone's a teacher and they're on their feet all day. We get that kind of physical labor, but we don't really talk about the effects of emotional labor and handling people's emotions. This is especially true. I know a lot of you out there are very empathetic, where you take on the feelings of other people's emotion. It can be super draining. It could make you not want to get out of bed. It could make you not want to be around people or help other people. And that's really sad because you're here to help people. You're here to serve others. And I know a lot of coaches and therapists and other kinds of professions where you are dealing with a lot of emotional labor. It can be really, really draining. So what I want to share are 3 tips for handling emotional labor without feeling overwhelmed. All right, so my first tip for dealing with emotional labor is to create a 5-minute buffer. So what I mean by this is somebody is coming to you and they just want to rant, like you know who it is. Maybe it's your sister and all she wants to do is complain about her job. Or maybe it's your partner and all he or she wants to do is just complain about someone who's annoying them and just blah, just get it all out to you. I know a lot of people who like to do that. Okay, so if they're coming to you, but you know you don't want to take on all that negativity because maybe you've had a really good day or maybe you just don't want to hear it anymore. You're sick of hearing it. So what you could do, you could create a 5-minute buffer. So give them 5 minutes of space to do whatever. They can just let it all out in those 5 minutes. But you are really strict and you stick to just those 5 minutes. So if someone comes to you and is like, oh my gosh, I gotta tell you about my day, stop them and say, okay, I'm gonna let you complain about your day, but only in this 5-minute buffer. So you can do whatever you need to do for 5 minutes and then we're moving on. Then we're gonna go get pizza. We're gonna go do something fun, right? So we talk about this a lot in Life Editing for Beginners during step 2, the delete bad influences, where you've got to create boundaries around these bad influences. And someone just dumping on you, that's a bad influence. like, yeah, they're gonna feel a lot better, like they've gotten it off their chest. You're not gonna feel good. You're gonna feel all of that emotional labor. So you create that 5-minute buffer, set a timer if you have to. I know some people you're going to have to set a timer because they'll just keep going and going and going. Set the timer, do that 5-minute buffer, let them say whatever they need to say, and then ding, okay, now we're gonna go do something fun. I'm glad you got that out of your system, let's move on. So that is protecting you so you don't feel that for the whole rest of the day or week. And it's protecting them too, it's training them to not use you as a garbage can. I know that sounds really, really harsh, but that's what they're doing. If they're just dumping their garbage, dumping their negativity, dumping their complaining on you, they're using you as a trash can and they're getting it all out into you so that they can go live their lives, but you feel terrible because you're absorbing all of that. So that's tip number 1, is create a 5-minute buffer and give them a chance to just get it all out. Next, tip number 2, ask them, do you want to vent or do you want solutions? This might be a little tricky, but you gotta be brave and you've got to set more boundaries with these people who just wanna dump on you. So when you start the conversation, like, oh, before you go into what that nasty person did to you, let's get clear here. Do you just want to vent and get it all out? Or do you want solutions? Because that's going to tell you how you need to approach the conversation. If they just need to vent, okay, fine. You're just going to be there. You're just going to be their rock. You're going to be their shoulder to cry on, and you just be there and let them vent. Then 5 minutes over, you're done. If they need solutions, then you can come to it with a different mindset and be like, okay, I'm going to help you find solutions so you don't end up in this situation again. I think we need to be really clear with our loved ones because we love them. We do love them. And we don't want them abusing the relationship that we have with them or using us up. So if we can set the boundary right at the beginning, are you gonna vent or do you want solutions? We can continue to have a respectful relationship there without going into that resentment. I don't know if you guys can see, there's like this light that's coming through the window. Oh, Facebook Live is interesting. We'll see if we keep doing this. Anyway, moving on. So that was step 2. Your tip number 2 is to ask them, is it for venting or for coming up with a solution? All right. Tip number 3 for handling emotional labor is to refer them to a coach. Oh my goodness, Sage, that's such a self-serving answer. Oh my goodness. Yes, of course it's a self-serving answer. That's what I'm here for. So look, if you have someone coming up to you and they are just wringing you dry like a sponge and just like, just dumping on you and making you feel so exhausted from all of that emotional labor, whoa, well, you can't keep doing that. That's not your job. Your job is to love them. Your job is to be their sister, to be their spouse, to be their mommy, to be their whatever. You're supposed to love them and you don't want to start resenting them. So be a loving whatever person in their life and refer them to a coach. Refer them to a therapist. Refer them to a counselor or somebody whose job it is to handle that emotional labor. I am trained to handle emotional labor. I have many calls during the day with my clients where they're going through tough experiences. They have a lot of stuff that's going on and they're trying to cope. So yeah, I hear a lot of stuff. I hear about divorces. I hear about abuse. I hear about rape. I hear about bankruptcy and financial troubles. I hear about all this stuff all the time. This is my job. This is what I'm trained to do. You're not trained to do that, and if you are, you do that with your clients, but you're not trained to do that for your loved ones, and you shouldn't have to. Refer them to someone who can handle their emotional labor. The great thing about being a coach is that I'm not in your life. I didn't grow up with you. I didn't know you in elementary school. I don't have 30 years of history with you. So I'm stepped back from your life. So I'm not I don't know all of those things that you're embarrassed about or all those things you regret. That's the great thing about being a coach. I can objectively help someone with their problem. I can give them the space to vent or to grieve or to be really mad and do all of that without it hurting me as much because I'm not a part of that. Does that make sense? I don't have that history with them, so it doesn't matter to me as well. It matters because they're my client, but it doesn't hurt me as much as it might hurt someone who is related to them. So that is my third step, is to refer them to a coach. Refer them to somebody else who can be their sounding board, so that you can just continue to love them. So those are 3 ways to handle emotional labor without getting overwhelmed. So number 1, create that 5-minute buffer. Let them get whatever they need to get out in those 5 minutes. Number 2, ask them right at the beginning of the conversation, is this about venting or is this about finding solutions? And then number 3, if you still can't take all of that emotional labor, make sure you refer them to a coach or a therapist or a counselor or somebody else who is specifically trained to handle emotional labor. So those are my tips for you. And like I mentioned, this question came in to our Life Editing for Beginners group, and it was too good for me to just keep in the group. I needed to share it with all of you here. So if you are interested about learning more about life editing, going through the 5 steps of the life editing process with dozens of like-minded women who are going through the same things that you are, I invite you to join Life Editing for Beginners. Now, right now, we are halfway in the middle of a live session. And what a live session is, it means there are weekly prompts, there's a weekly group call, there's tons of interaction in our private Facebook group. So now is a great time to join us because you're gonna get a lot more out of the program right now than if you're doing it when it's not a live session. And it's really a wonderful community. I've been doing this for 3.5 years, and I'm always impressed by the breakthroughs that happen in Life Editing for Beginners. That's why it's my flagship program. So in the description for this video, you're gonna see the link for Life Editing for Beginners. Please come and join us, join our little life editing party. And just so you know, you can join Life Editing for Beginners anytime during the year. Twice a year I do the live session with the group calls, but you can join anytime during the year. You can go through the program at your own pace. There's 28 training videos for you, plus a whole workbook with 18 worksheets. I really hold your hand as you're going through the life editing process. So check out Life Editing for Beginners, and if you have any questions about emotional labor or something that I didn't cover here, please leave me a comment or tag me on my Facebook page or send an email to sage@sagegrayson.com. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope that Facebook Live worked. Thanks for being here with like all this weird sunlight on me. I don't know, we're trying it. Let me know if you like Facebook Live. Let me know if this is something I should keep doing or not. I don't know. We'll see. But this was too good not to share with you. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.